Hello, this is Jo from Maths Tutor Me. Today we're going to do some negative indices questions. I have done a lesson on negative indices before. The questions I'm doing today are just a little bit harder for some of them. So here are the rules here. For those of you who have seen them before, you'll remember that a to the power of negative 1 is 1 over a, can be written as a fraction. Or a to the power of negative m is equal to 1 over a to the m. Basically, if we have a negative power, we can write that term on the bottom of a fraction and take the negative power away. Okay, so these first two are a little review of the last lesson that we did. So we just want to write using a negative index to avoid fractions. So we want to write them without fractions, so we're going to use negative indices to do that. So this is 10 over g to the power of 5. If I want to write that without a fraction, I'm actually doing this formula in reverse. I will write the 10, it's on the top of the fraction, and the g to the power of 5 can be brought up to the top as well if I put a negative sign back in. So it'd be g to the power of negative 5. Okay, doing that again for question 2, 4a over b. The 4a is already on the top. It's the b that needs to be moved. So that's a b to the power of 1. If I want to move it off the denominator, I can write that as b to the power of negative 1. Okay, so we can use our negative indices rules here to help us with questions like this one in question 3. We want to write the fraction 3 over 10 to the power of negative 2 as a mixed numeral. Now, we're obviously wanting to use our index laws to do this, not just a calculator. So let's use what we've just learnt. I can write this without the negative power if I put it into a fraction. So I really will have a fraction in a fraction here. I'll have 1 over my 3 over 10 to the power of a positive 2. Now I can expand that bracket there by squaring each of those numbers. So 3 squared is 9 and 10 squared is 100. Now we don't like having a fraction in a fraction, so what we can do is we can write, instead of 1 over 9 over 10, I can write 1 divided by 9 over 100, sorry. And we know, I'm going to come up here to go down again, we know that a divide can be written as a times if we turn the fraction upside down. So that can become 1 times by 100 over 9. Okay, and 1 times 100 over 9 is really just 100 over 9. Okay, so now that we've simplified that, we want to write it as a mixed numeral. So 9 goes into 100 11 times, because 11 nines would be 99, give me 1 remainder out of 9. So 11 and 1/9 would be this thing here, written as a mixed numeral. Okay, in question 4 it says simplify and write without a negative index. So we are dividing 24z to the negative 2 divided by 6z to the power of 3. First of all, we want to divide the numbers at the front. 24 divided by 6 goes 4 times. Z is the base. And then when we're dividing, we want to subtract the powers. Minus 2 minus another 3 will make minus 5. Okay, but we want to leave our answer without the negative index. So we need to rewrite that with the 4 on the top, and the z will go to the bottom to have a positive power of 5. Let's try again with b. First of all, expand the brackets. We want to square what is inside. So 7 squared is 49. Then we need to multiply the powers. So m is the base. Minus 3 times 2 is minus 6. Okay, then we want to write it without the negative index, so 49 will go on the top, and the m to the power of a positive 6 will go on the bottom. Question 5. 5 to the power of x plus 1 divided by 5 to the power of x minus 1. Okay, if 5 is the base and we're dividing, we want to subtract the powers. So we want to do x plus 1. Now we have to minus both of these, so minus another 1, and minusing a minus will make that a plus x. That will make that 5 to the power of x plus x is 2x, and 1 minus 1 will cancel out. So my final answer is 5 to the power of 2x, which is a positive power. There's nothing left to be done with that question. Okay, so on the next page I have some questions here, just like the ones that we have just done for you to practice with. So if you stop the video and have a try of these questions and then restart to go through the answers. So question 1 says to write 7x over y squared using a negative index. Well, the y squared that's on the bottom we can bring up to be next to the 7x if we put a negative power in front of that too. So 7x y to the power of negative 2. And that's it, that's all you have to do for that question. Question 2, simplify and write without a negative index. So first of all we have to multiply these together. 12 times 3 is 36. M is the base, and when we're multiplying we want to add the powers. So I have a minus 4 plus another minus 1, which will make minus 5. Okay, but then we have to write that without the negative power, which means that the m to the power of minus 5 will need to go to the bottom of the fraction. The 36 will stay on the top, the m on the bottom to a positive power of 5. Question B here. 2 bracket a to the power of 3, b all to the power of negative 1. Okay, if it's the power of negative 1, we can put that whole bracket onto the bottom of a fraction and make it a positive power of 1. So 2 over a cubed b, and that would be to a power of 1, but that's not actually going to do anything to this question, so we can just write it like that. That's done. Question 3, simplify 3 to the power of k divided by 3 to the power of 2 minus k. Well, if 3 is the base and I'm dividing, I want to subtract the powers. So it'll be k minus 2, and I also have to minus the minus k, so that will become a plus k. Then I can collect up the terms in my power there. So I can add k plus k is 2k and a negative 2. Alright, and that's simplified, so we're done with that. Question 4, we have a fraction here, 2 over 3 to the power of negative 2, that we want to write as a mixed numeral. Well, first of all, we can write it with a positive power of 2 if we put it on the bottom of a fraction. So we can write that as 1 over 2 over 3 to the power of positive 2. Then we can square each of those numbers there. So that would be 1 over 2 squared is 4 and 3 squared is 9. Now instead of having the fraction in a fraction, I can change that to be 1 divided by 4 over 9, which is really the same as 1 times by, turn the fraction upside down, 9 over 4. 1 times by 9 over 4 is just 9 over 4. Timesing it by 1 doesn't do anything. So all I need to do is write that as a mixed numeral. 4 goes into 9 2 times with a remainder of 1. And that's it. Okay, hopefully you're able to follow those questions and they're starting to make sense. Keep practicing as always, and I'll see you next time.